When things get hard, it makes it really easy to find out a lot about the people around you and what they're made of. Even in a competition situation, whether it's win or lose, the stress shows you what people value. I had a pastor tell me one time that putting people under stress is kind of like squeezing a tube of toothpaste. When you squeeze the tube of toothpaste, what's on the inside comes out. You just can't hide it. Our culture is very centered in on being real. That's a big value for our culture. And you would think that if that's such a big value for our culture and we all react so strongly against it, that it would be hard to find someone who's not real. But unfortunately, that's just not the case. It seems like every other day, we hear about this leader or that person, whether it's a friend or a local leader, a politician or a business owner that comes out and we thought they were one way and they really weren't, And unfortunately, the church is not immune to that either. We have this pastor failed or that leader failed or whatever. And it's hard because you want to find what is the balance? How do we stay consistent with dealing with those who just need grace and they screwed up and they're growing? And how do we heal them yet maintain consistency with the scriptures? And looking at our culture with COVID and with all the racial unrest and the political divisions and all of those things, I think one of the most valuable things that a Christ follower can bring to this time right now is authenticity and stability for the glory of God and for people around them. And we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. I'm Jim Campbell. I'm the lead pastor of Bay West Church. I'm so thankful that you chose to join us online, wherever you did, whether this is months later and you're like, COVID what? Or, whatever. Or if it's today, I'm so glad you're here with us. I want to tell you that if you are a parent and you have kids and you want help in discipling your kids, we aren't having Kids Zone right now. We are meeting in person, 11:15 on Sundays, but we aren't having Kids Zone in person just yet. We still are having a resource online. Our Bay West Kids Zone Facebook group is for parents so they can sign up, and then we put up content throughout the week, on Sundays, that you can use, videos you can watch with your kids. We want you to watch them with your kids, and some discussion guides where you can have conversations with your kids and help disciple. We want to help you disciple your kids to know Jesus during this time. If you're not a part of a life group, you can join one you can go to baywestchurch.com/groups, and there's a button there that says join a life group. You can join a life group there. That's just a group of people that you can have to do life with. We have some that are done by Zoom. We have some that are done in person in varying degrees, some outside, different things like that that are going on right now. So we just encourage you to join a life group. Don't be alone during this time as well. If you would like to give, you can obviously do that at baywestchurch.com/give. If you would like my sermon notes, you can follow along here in a few minutes at baywestchurch.com/notes. And that's an easy way to get to them. But before we do that, let me pray and open us, and then we're going to sing some worship together to the Lord. God, we ask for your help. Lord, we're in a tough situation here. We have COVID, and it's so much uncertainty. Even after months of trying to track down what's going on, there's some hope. There's some scary things. God, we need your help. We need your help to be the kind of people that honor who you created, Lord, in our country, Lord, with the racial injustice and the things that we're trying to figure out with that. Lord, we need your guidance, Lord, so we need you to step in. Lord, right now we want to trust you. We want to be consistently faithful to you because, God, you are consistently faithful to us. So help us during this time. Help us to put aside the things and the problems on our plate today, Lord, and trust you and listen to you for the things you have to say to us. In your name we pray. Amen.
The storm surrounding me, let it break. At your name still, call the sea to still, the rage in me to still every wave. At your name, Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. Breathe, call these bones to live, call these lungs to sing once again. I will praise Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. Your name is a light that the shadows can't deny. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is a light forever lifted high. Your name cannot be overcome. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Jesus, 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 you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. Your name is a light that the shadows can't deny. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is a light forever lifted high. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is a light that the shadows can't deny. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is a light forever lifted high. Your name cannot be overcome. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, 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 Jesus.
You know, the book of James is all about authenticity. It's about what is real and what is fake. You know, James was Jesus' half-brother, and he became a great leader of the church after Jesus' ascension into heaven. And he writes this book that's kind of a gritty, no-holds-barred, right-up-in-your-face treatise on what it means to be real, you know, as a Christ follower. he lived in a climate where Christianity was just starting to take off. And though they were gaining some success, there were still some people that were kind of falling back into the old habits and compromising with the culture around them. To make things, it made the work a little bit harder. And honestly, some of them stopped being consistent in their faith. And they were ignoring a lot of big elephants in the room. There's stuff like prejudice, stuff like injustice, things that they were having to deal with there as well. I think that's poignant and timely for us as we have so many things that we're having to deal with that we've rarely had to confront at this level before. That we remain true and stable and authentic, as Christ followers. And today what I want to do is I want to show you something about being a Christ follower and tell you that possibly this is the best way that you can make a difference and serve those around you during the COVID epidemic, through the racial injustice, through the political divisions, all of those things. And I think this is crucial no matter where you fall on any of those subjects. What I'm about to share with you today is one of the most crucial, critical areas that we need to address to be what we need to be to honor God and to help those around us, to serve those in our communities. And I want to jump into the book of James. We're going to start right off the bat, and you'll see what I'm talking about really quick. And so in verse 1, in chapter 1, it says, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes scattered among the nations, greetings. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds. I told you he got in your face real quick, right? He's like, hey, I'm James. By the way, you should consider it pure joy when you're faced with trials of many kinds. I know if you've been around church much, you've heard that verse quite a bit. If you've been around church a whole lot, you may just blow right past that because you've heard it so many times. And I caution you not to. Stop and consider every time you read God's word what God is saying. And consider it in the light of your situation around you. But if this is the first time you've heard it, maybe you haven't heard that before, and you said, wait a minute, I'm going to check out this Jesus thing, and all of a sudden it says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds. Here's the first thing there that I see. It says, whenever you do. It's not if you're going to, it's whenever you do. And I think the thing that we have to understand is that trouble will come. We're going to face trouble in our lives. And we may know that, but a lot of times when people begin to follow Christ, or people think that if I'm facing trouble, then something's going wrong. Often when we're facing trouble, it's when things are going right. That's not necessarily the case. There are sometimes we make decisions that cause trouble for ourselves, but there's other times that trouble just comes because Jesus said, look, it's coming. He told the disciples that in John 16:33. He said, look, he told them about a lot of bad things that are going to happen. He said, look, I'm telling you this so that you won't freak out. I'm telling you it's coming, but I got it. I have overcome the world, in John 16:33. See, just as much as James tells us how to be a Christian when things are tough, he also tells us that we will be Christians when things are tough because it's coming. Trouble is coming, and what's, almost silly is that, in a way you can go, okay, well, I get it. I can grin and bear it, but you're telling me to have joy when this happens. Not just grin and bear it, not just hold up under it, but you're telling me I need to have joy, not a little joy or some joy, but I need to have pure joy. Now, we've talked a lot about joy over the past few months, and I've tried to shape that and frame that a certain way, but the truth is you can actually translate this joy as ecstasy. And so I just lost somebody out there because they just said, wait a minute, trials come at me from all places, all over the place, and I'm supposed to not just have grin and bear it, I'm not just supposed to have a smiley face on it, I'm supposed to have pure ecstasy about it. Well, you got to realize we frame this in the context of what it is. And what it is such a supreme confidence, joy. The concept of joy is such a supreme confidence is that you know that what is coming, you're almost excited because you want to see what God is doing. When you look on social media, a lot of times, a lot of people talk in memes or animated GIFs, and they'll respond with a picture that says how they feel, or they'll respond with an animated GIF, which is it's a graphic, it's a moving graphic, that's made from a video that shows a situation and you see somebody's face, or maybe they put some word on the screen or they make a facial expression or something like that, and it expresses what they mean. When I read this, when I hear this pure joy, I think of the popcorn animated GIF or the popcorn meme. Now, you may not know what that is, but here I'm going to show it to you real quick here in a minute. This is what it is. Okay, and what this is doing is what it shows is someone, it evokes someone in a movie eating popcorn. You know, you eat popcorn when you're watching a movie, and now they're sitting down with a smile on their face. Like, I just want to see what's about to happen. That's what I want to see. A lot of times when something big comes out or two people get in an argument, you'll see that pop up because people are like, I'm just going to sit down and eat my popcorn, and I'm going to see what's going on with you. And see, that's what I'm saying. In this situation, when trouble comes at us, when all these troubles come from different kinds, this is a popcorn moment. The joy that is saying, I'm just going to sit down here and eat my popcorn and see how God's going to fix this. I know he's going to fix this. It's probably going to be a big one because all this stuff is crazy. So I'm just going to try. I can't wait to see what God's going to do. You know, and so this is the popcorn moment, you know, in the Bible. And we continue in verse 3. It says, why can we have this joy? Why can we have this confidence? Why can we go, okay, I just want to see what he's going to do. You know, because it's going to work out. We can say it because of this. Because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Now let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. You see, the testing of your faith is important. You see, while trouble tests your faith, faith triumphs in trouble. You see, you have to realize if something comes at you, God's allowing that situation to get there, and it's really is allowing a situation to happen where you can at some point you're going to see the power of God in a way that you couldn't see in any other way. You know, basically for a Christian, a tough time means that God's about to do something in you that you can't see, and when he's through, your faith will be stronger. You know, I used to lift weights. I know I don't look like it now, but I used to lift weights a lot when I was younger. And I was kind of always, the guys that I lifted, we were always impressed about pressing the max bench. The maximum amount that we could bench, you know. And you would be working out and you try to do more and you say, all right, I'm going to try for my max today and do the highest I could, you know, and that's my personal best, and you keep on going and all that type of stuff. But you would get to a point in working out that you'd be doing all the right things, you'd be eating all the right stuff, you'd be getting sleep, you're working out, you're being faithful and all that stuff, and you just can't get any more weight up. You're at a plateau. And then sometimes you would even dip down. You're like, I can't even do my max today. What's going on with this? I'm doing my work. I'm working out. And all of a sudden, one day, you jump like 10 pounds. And it's like, dude, that's amazing. How did that happen? You know, well, what was happening is while you were working out and doing what you were supposed to be doing, it didn't seem like anything was happening on the surface, but things were happening inside your body that you couldn't see that was making you stronger and preparing you for the time when you would increase. And that's a lot of what happens to us when we face troubles with our faith. You know, that happens to our faith. Our faith is like that muscle, and the trouble is like the lifting of the weight. That's what happens there. I always counsel people, look, we should react to trouble by acting in truth. React to trouble by acting in truth. A lot of times what we do is we react to trouble by acting in fear, or we act in freak out, or we act in anger, or we act in sadness or sorrow. But what we need to do is react to trouble by acting in truth. You know, what do you know? We talked about this with the Habakkuk series a couple of weeks ago. It says, look, you know that you have a God that has taken care of you before. You know that you have a God that is taking care of people you know, and you know situations around you. You know you have a God who has been faithful and taking care of people after years, after years, after years, over thousands of years of history throughout the Bible. So knowing all of this, I need to react off of that truth. That's where the joy comes from. Look, I know God's going to come through. So let's just see how this is going to work. Because I got news for you. If I just looked at it for myself, I don't think it's going to happen. But I know God's going to come through, so I'm just going to go, okay, let's see how this is going to work out. A lot of times it didn't work out like you think it is, but it works out like he planned for it too. And it's important. It's important that we understand this. It's important that we hold on to this, that we don't bolt from this. And there's some reasons. And we look at, so what should we do? What should my actions be? What does reacting to trouble by acting in truth look like? Look, this is what it looks like. God has you covered there because the next verse he causes James to write is this. He says, look, if any of you lacks wisdom, in other words, wisdom is kind of, what do I do? If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault. I love that because that means there's no stupid questions with God. That's why I love it. God Can I trust you? That's a stupid question, but to God, it's not a stupid question. Oh, yes, you can. I'm going to give you wisdom. I'm going to tell you what to do. It's okay. You know, who gives generously to all without finding fault. He doesn't go, look, that was a dumb question, and you're an idiot. Don't ask me anything else again. You know, no. That's not what he does. He gives generously to all without finding fault. And it will be given unto you. But when you ask, this is important, when you ask, you must believe and not doubt. Because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all that they do. And now, I know that if you've been around Bay West much, you know that I bring those verses up often, and I do that for a specific reason, because I believe this is a great key in how we live our Christian lives. In these verses, and there's not a situation that you can't think of, that you can think of where these don't really apply and apply strenuously and heavily to you. You know, I over and over, these verses, what they say is that we need to come to God for direction, for a direction to go, not an option to consider. And that is, I believe, a big epidemic really among churches and Christians sometimes, because we like to come to God to see, well, are you going to tell me what I wanted to hear? And if you don't, then I'm going to go find somebody else to tell me what I want to hear so that I can do what I wanted to do to begin with. If I go reading God's word and God says, you know, I need to be faithful to my spouse and all of that, and I need to be faithful, but you know what, my spouse is not being nice to me, and you know, and I need to be, you know, that person at work, man, they're really cool, and they're attentive and good, and they appreciate me. They appreciate me. My spouse doesn't appreciate me. So God, I mean, you don't want me to be unhappy, so it's okay if I just go out with this person over here on the side away from my spouse, right? And God's like, no, that's not right. And you go, oh, I don't like that. Well, I'm going to go find somebody. And normally what we do is go look for a man or a woman who wrote a book, who has 3 letters behind their name or something like that, to go, hey, it's really okay, and this is why. And they say a bunch of gobbledygook that says basically God doesn't know what he's talking about. It's what it all boils down to be. And then we just go with what they said. See, I'm going to be honest with you. That is a form of idolatry, because we're looking for someone who's close to God but not God, because we don't like what God said. So we want a counterfeit that goes with what we said. Really, we're making ourselves our own God, because we've already decided what we're going to do. We've got to be careful with that. We've got to be careful with that. God's saying very different. We come to God, we come to him. I am set. What you say, I'm going to do. And it's difficult at times. It is. It's difficult at times. See, God, through James, anticipates your question. He says, how am I supposed to consider this pure joy? How am I supposed to trust that faith is right? How am I supposed to do it? And he says, look, if you want to know what to do, just come to me, and I will tell you what to do and how to make it through this. I can take care of you. And what he says is, look, tells you not to flippantly make a run at him. And when you don't get the answer you want, then bolt and find someone else who'll give you what you want. What he says is, no, that person is unstable. Listen, they're double-minded. They're unstable. Unstable in all that they do. See, that type of instability finds its way to all areas of your life. So you can't come and, I'm going to sing songs on Sunday and I love Jesus and all this type of stuff. And then you've got this major instability where you just like, I don't care what God says over here. See, it's going to make its way around. That's how we get people that are fake. It's the difference between people who are sinners and know they're sinners, and they're trying real hard, and they fail, and they come back to God, and they plead for forgiveness, and God's growing them and moving them and making them better over a pattern of years. There's somebody who says, look, you know, I'm going to sing Jesus right. I found a way to sing for Jesus right here that everybody looks and thinks I'm cool, and then live over there like it's not right. God's saying, no. That's an unstable person. They're unstable in all that they do. You can't divorce themselves from that. They just, you know, that's just not going to work. It's kind of like when you choose to walk in a direction. If I choose to walk this way, I'm not going to get over there by walking that way. Now, you may say, Jim, you know, some of you may be smart, and you say, if you walk that way, Jim, you walk all the way around the earth, you'll sooner enough fill up. Sooner or later, you'll find your way over here. But I want to tell you right now, if God says go there right now, and I leave and go here, I'm never going to be at that place at the right time, at the same condition, at the same me, no matter how far I go that way. Because it's not just about getting to the space. It's about the time, and it's about the person that I am. Because as I go this way, things are going to be introduced to me. I'm going to learn new things. People are going to throw things into my brain. I'm going to reconsider new things. I'm going to walk, and who knows if I ever get around to that, because all the things that I would meet going around the entire earth to get around to this, get in, I will never get to that place again. So when God says do it, he means now. Or when if he says wait, then you wait. He says now, go now. There's a point, there's a reason. He says, I'm trying to give you direction. Sometimes our problems and our trouble are because we look at God's commands as options. And the truth is, our trouble could be alleviated immediately if we just took his directions seriously. But God, you can't be serious about this, right? Yeah, I am. See, what James is telling us here is that all this trouble that we see is temporary. It's only for a season. But what lasts is what God does and what God builds in us, in our souls, this relationship with him during the season. The season of trouble is temporary, but what God does in us in the season of trouble is permanent. And we cannot ignore that. It's too valuable to miss. You see, in verse 12, God gives us this promise. He said, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." Now, for a lot of time in my life, I looked at that and I thought, wow, okay, that means, if they're sick, they're just holding it up and they're trying, and I'm not being sick, but I'm going to suck it up and go anyway. Or I'm sad, I'm not going to show that I'm sad, I'm not going to be this, I'm not going to be that. And they're persevering against that trial. But that's not what it says. It's persevering under trial. What are they persevering for? To defeat the trial? No, that's not what they're persevering for. What they're persevering for, they're not persevering against the sickness. They're not persevering against the job loss. They're not persevering against the marital conflict or the strife with a friend or that person who stabbed you in the back. They're not persevering against all of those things. You know what they're persevering for? They're persevering against the temptation not to trust God in the middle of the circumstance that they're in. That's what the perseverance is. It's not that I overcome this giant problem in front of me. It's that at this moment, at this time, at this step, this next move I make honors God. And I trust him in faith that what he told me to do, I'm going to do it. I was talking to my wife last week and we're talking about stuff, and I said, what? I just think the Christian life is not, people make it way more outcome oriented than they should. They think one day I'm going to be this cool person, and I'm going to have it all together, and they keep dreaming for tomorrow and for out there, and it's, I'm going to be so faithful, and I'm going to give one of these days, I'm going to make all this money and retire, and then I'm going to give it all to Jesus and all this stuff. And they don't understand that that's not how you follow Christ. You follow Christ in the now, right now, at this moment. God, what do you want me to do? Because the truth is, we can think, for us as a church, I say, we're going to make disciples. We want to make disciples. And I could run through people through here, and let's make disciples, make disciples, make disciples. Let's say I want to get baptism. We'll just run people through there. We'll baptize anybody that comes. We'll announce free baptisms out there. We'll baptize anybody. No, you don't have to. We'll just baptize you. And we can run that count up all we want. It's not about, and we would do that, and we would find out we were wrong, because it's not the outcome, it's the each moment, each step that it took to get there. And if we trust God in the process, he delivers the results. And so the moment by moment is our responsibility. And what he's saying here is, look, when you persevere in the midst of the trial, and you resist the temptation to disobey what God has told you specifically to not to do, or to obey exactly what God said, to handle it the way God says, to point to him, give him glory in the middle of it, no matter what comes. See, at that moment, that is persevering under trouble and under trial. I'm going to give you 3 truths about why we can be consistent and stable in this time right now. And this is why we can trust no matter what comes. I don't care how much COVID goes up or COVID goes down. I don't care if you have to wear a mask or you have to dress in, full body, plexiglass shields with bubble wrap around you. I don't care. I don't. This is for us. Truth about trouble says trouble, let me get it out. Trouble is unavoidable, but because of Christ, it is not unconquerable. See, Jesus told us in John 16:33, when he told the disciples all about that, all this trouble's coming, but I told you about it just so you wouldn't freak out. And when he said, I've overcome the world. In other words, Jesus has overcome the trouble. He can act over and above and through and around all of those things to bring blessing and God. Jesus has overcome the world, and we need to act on truth in that. The second thing is this: trouble is damaging, but because of Christ, it's not defeating. The trouble that comes at us is not defeating. Romans 8:28 says, if you love and serve God, He'll work all things out to the good of those people, to good of us, to the good of those who love and serve God. He's going to work things out, all things for the good of those. Ultimately, in the end, it's a win. It may be a dip, it may be up and down or whatever, but for a moment, it may look bad, but I'm telling you at the end, it's a win. And it's going to be better, and it's going to be worth it, and we have to trust it, and we can act in confidence on that. That's where the ecstasy of joy comes for us. And the third thing is this: trouble is temporary, but because of Jesus, it is never terminal. It's never terminal. Trouble is both real and fake at the same time. Do you realize that? It's real in that it's there, but it's fake in what it promises. It promises destruction. But it doesn't get to make that call for me as a Christ follower. See, there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. I continue to follow God. I honor God even when maybe I have screwed up royally. I make the next moment, I confess my sin before you, God. I put that in your place. I repent of that, and I'm moving forward, God. And if people want to call me a hypocrite, that's fine. I'm going to tell them, you're dadgum right. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done it. I was a mistake maker. But I asked God for forgiveness. And you know what? You can too. And He gave it because He's faithful and just to forgive us our sins. That is how we live in the midst of that. That's how we can have joy. That's how we can have consistent confidence in what we do. That is the pure joy that we can understand. It's why we can eat popcorn. There's a verse in Psalm 23 where it says, God, I learned it in King James when I was little, thou preparest a table in the presence of my enemies. David said, you're walking through the valley of the shadow of death, and I don't have any weapons. It's okay. You gave them to comfort me, but I don't need them. You're God. You prepare us a table in the presence of mine enemies. And I see this dude sitting at a table, and it's all got this food all over it. And cannons on the left of me, cannons on the right of me, gargoyles coming at me. Vampires dropping off the top. All the people sneaking up behind me. Trouble's coming from every way, and that table is full of popcorn. And I'm just going, okay, God. How you going to fix this? Y'all all in trouble. Y'all just don't even know it yet. Oh, my goodness. Oh, how you going to fix it, God? I know it's going to be crazy because I think there's no way it would work. See, that is God's picture for us. And here's the thing. We can be unshakable because our approach to everything should be unchangeable because our God is immovable. And unprecedented, we say unprecedented times, unprecedented really doesn't matter because my God is precedented over and over and over and over and over and over again. He set the precedent of I'm going to come through. So you bring the unprecedented thing. I've seen the unprecedented come and go over history and in time, and God has still remained and still been faithful and still been available for us. It's not my assessment of the danger before me, around me, behind me, because my attention to the Savior is what will win the day for me. We'll win it or lose it. Because see, instead of what we do, when we see the situation, we see COVID, we see the racial injustice, and we see the riots, and we see the political stuff, and we see this, and then we see the job, and then we see the economy, and then we see all those things. We take our eyes and we focus on those, and we freak out when we should have been focusing on the Savior the whole time. Because that is the real temptation, is to take my eyes away from the stable and put it on the unstable, thereby making me double-minded and unstable in all that I do. And I don't want to be that. And I don't want that for you either. You know, there's a reason that Solomon wrote in Proverbs 24:16, said the righteous man will fall down 7 times, but he'll get up again. But one disaster is enough to overthrow the wicked. And the reason is, it's not, you think about the wicked and you're like, it's not like that. The wicked is anybody who doesn't follow Jesus. Anybody who doesn't follow God. The righteous is not because I'm great. No, it's because God's great and I figured that out and I'm going to follow him. And he called me and I'm following him. It's his righteousness. This is not mine. It's not because I'm awesome. I'm not. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not. God is amazing. God is righteous, and I'm just I'm holding on. I'm Habakkuk-ing God all I can. I'm wrestling with him. I'm holding on to him. Please don't ever let me go. And God's like, I got you. Don't worry about it, man. I ain't letting you go, because he already said that in his word as well. You see, this is what is, the godly may trip 7 times. They probably will. But they will get up again, because God will raise them up. Humble yourself under the mighty hand of God, and he will raise you up in due time. Peter said that, wrote that. But the wicked, one disaster will overthrow them. Why? Because they are living tethered to the unstable. Because only God is stable. And that's why at this time in our country and in our culture, we need to be stepping forward, not backing up. We don't need to be giving in to culture. We need to be stepping forward and driving culture toward God with the stability that God has given us. Here's 3 things I want to tell you, action steps that we leave it with. Number 1, I want you to trust God. I want you to reconfirm your trust in God right now. Look, God, you look at me and tell me, look, I believe you. I want you to recall the things that he's done in your life. I want you to look at the people around you that God's changed and what he's done, the miracles he's done. I want you to think about his word and say, look what, I trust you. I trust you, and I'm going to honor you. Second thing, after you trust him, you need to thank him. Have you thanked him for the tough thing you're going through? The Bible tells us in all things give thanks. That's hard. Jim, it's very painful, physically and emotionally. I don't know where my next paycheck's coming from, but have you thanked God for it? Because you know that if you follow God through it, he's going to bring you to the other side of it. Do you thank you for putting that there, God? I want to see what you do. I want to have a story for my grandchildren that I can tell them about how God saved me and what he did this time. I want to have that story to tell. So here, my popcorn. I'm going to do it. So you trust God. You thank God. And then I want you to take it in, because when you trust God and you thank God in the worst of circumstances, because you have confidence and joy, you come to him for direction. I'm not changing. I'm doing what you say. I believe in you. I want to see what you do to fix this. I'm eating my popcorn. When you come to him, he transforms your vision. And you can begin to see things that you never thought were possible. And you take it in. Write it down. Remember it, because that is God working in you in the midst of that circumstance to increase your faith and to bring you out on the other side better than you were. And your max will jump 10 pounds. I want to thank you so much for being a part of our church today. Maybe you're a Christ follower, and I hope these words have helped you. If you're in a tough time right now, I just want to pray for you. If maybe you're someone who's not following Christ and you're in the middle of a tough time and you don't even know you're not tethered to Christ. Well, for a moment, I want to pray for you right now. I want to pray, 1, that if you don't know Christ, you'll follow him. 2, if you're a Christ follower, I want to pray that you will have strength and you will feel God's presence in this time of trouble, and that you can trust him, you can thank him, and you can take it in. the riches and blessings that are coming. God, I pray for all those that are out there right now, the sound of my voice. God, I pray that you would lift them up. Lord, I pray, I know that there's I'm imagining things in my mind that are going on and all across, our world that we know about. Lord, stuff that I've experienced, stuff that I've not experienced, and Lord, I don't even fathom what you're asking people to do. I know what you're asking me to do in my stuff, but I can't fathom what others. Lord, I just pray that you would step down, you would give people faith, you would give them strength, that you would bring people around them to support them and trust them, to help them to trust you. Father, I pray that you would show up in their lives. Father, provide in those places. And Lord, if you're extending it, it's a long trial, or it's something that they need to hang out in the uncertainty for a while, I pray that you would just throw little carrots down, Father, to let them know, hey, yeah, I'm still here, I got it. Lord, I pray if that was today, praise God for letting us be a part of that. Lord, if there's somebody out there who doesn't know Christ, Lord, I pray that you would trigger them, that you would convince them, that you would call them to you, and that they would begin to follow you. We trust you, God. In your name we pray, amen. If you don't follow Christ and you would like to, please click the Connect card button link around the interface, or you can go to baywestchurch.com/connect and just fill that out. Let us know. We would love to help you with that. We want to pray for you. If you have a specific prayer request, that is where you need to send it. If you decide you want to follow Christ and you just need to know how, man, I am so there for you, we'll get back with you ASAP and help you with that. Other than that, and remember, if you're a parent out there, thank you so much for being a part of our church, all of you guys. But if you're a parent out there and you'd like to join our Bay West Kids Zone Facebook group, just go to facebook.com/groups/Bay West Kids Zone, or search Bay West Kids Zone in the search bar on Facebook. If you'd like to give, go to baywestchurch.com/give. If you'd like to join a group, that's baywestchurch.com/groups. That's a great place to be. And hopefully we will see you here next week. I mean, if you feel comfortable with coming out, here's my mask. You're totally cool to wear one. Bring it out. We encourage them. We don't require them. And we do socially distance. We're wiping things down and stuff like that, trying to be safe as we can be. So if you feel comfortable, we'd love to see you here at 11:15 next week. If not, we'll see you here online as well. You guys have a great week. Later.